Hello and welcome to Trading Supra. Today is Thursday, June 7, 2018. This is in Market Replay, and I wanted to show you a couple of things here today. First of all, wanted to show you the functionality of FillFinder with automation and how to interact with the software, how to make it work for you. And then really foremost though, I wanted to introduce a new product called TradeWell. And TradeWell is exactly that. It's a well of trade opportunities. It's automated, and so you're able to, using TradeWell in conjunction with, together with FillFinder Automation, you're able to locate zones of opportunity and then simply input those zones yourself into FillFinder. And then FillFinder will work that zone and detect, as it does, it will detect shifts in order flow pressure, etc. And so looking at this example here, we've rolled over, so we're in September 2018 NQ NASDAQ E-mini futures, and the zone for that we've got from TradeWell, so I'll move that over on the screen here. And so you can see we've got a couple different markets that have active zones right now. And so these are eligible zones highlighted in red. That just lets us know that they're sell zones. They're areas where we look to get short if and when the market's able to push up into them. And so we're going to use the NASDAQ here. And so 7178 and a quarter is the low price of the zone, and 7201 and 3/4 is the high price in the zone. So since it's a selling zone, I'll just slide that out of the way. Since it's a selling zone, we'll put 7178 as the zone low, 7178 and a quarter, 7201.75, activate resistance. So we can see a fairly decent sized resistance zone. The market's not at that level right now. It's down at 49 and a quarter area. And so like I said, this is in replay. This was a trade that I'm showing you here today. This was a trade that I took on Thursday afternoon earlier. And so we'll just let this unfold. But as you can see, and I'll push this back over on screen, just kind of in the corner. So as we'll see here, as the market trades, we've got the target 1 for the profit objective for the broken up into 2 targets here. The smaller target is a multiple of 2. So that means whatever the risk is, it will be 2 times the risk will be our first profit objective. And then 4 times our initial risk is our second, our larger profit objective. And the quantity is 4 and then 2. And you can change these at will. So even though it's on right now, if you say, hey, wait a minute, I want to just go for a quantity of 1 or a multiple of 4, you can adjust that, you know, anytime you want. And so now market's pushing up off of its low. The idea with TradeWell is you now have the opportunity to be given zones where the market is likely to encounter pressure. And what we want to do is trade at those locations. So where the market's likely to encounter pressure, it's very often those are the turning points. However, a couple things. One, sometimes where we're anticipating, or where the market has implied, I should say, where the market has implied that pressure is more likely to come in, sometimes that implication is not validated. Sometimes the market just appears to ignore a level and continue right on. And so that's the danger with just trading levels is, you know, you have a level and it's held, you know, you look in the, you know, you pull up a chart, whatever you want to watch, and you find, okay, that level, wow, it worked. Well, it seems like no matter how many times it's worked, you might put a trade on at that level and the market blows right through it and takes you stop and takes your money. And so that's one difficulty with trading a level. Sometimes the market simply doesn't react there. And then other times it might push beyond it but not break entirely free. And so then it becomes this big waiting game, and you can become very tentative and very tense and not sure, should I get in now? Maybe you get in early. and you end up giving away a little money, stopping yourself out a few times before it eventually works, and you walk away and you look at it and you say, wow, I barely made any money even though I worked that level. And so that's where FillFinder Automation comes in, is the second side to the equation. You've got TradeWell, which shows areas where the pressure is likely to increase, where the market has a greater likelihood of at least slowing down or perhaps turning. And so it gives you that advantage of working areas where the market is implied that a shift could take place. But that implication needs to be validated in real time, and that's where FillFinder Automation pairs very well with TradeWell. Is you're able to then, using FillFinder Automation, as we've done here, simply put the zone on the screen, activate the zone, and so when you have a red number in the TradeWell zone columns here, those are sell zones. If it's blue, it's a buy zone. So we've got red numbers, so we put our resistance zone, our sell zone, we simply input that in, and then if and when the market's able to push up to that resistance area, FillFinder will then monitor the market, the order flow construct and the makeup of the order flow, the pace of change, the refresh rates, all kinds of different things are monitored. And what you end up with is real-time validation of the zone. And so now what you're able to do is trade only in an area, first of all, where the market's more likely to move in the first place. And so that can make for easier winners. It can make for an easier time getting either small losses if it doesn't work, or getting bigger multiple size of your initial risk. You can get those rather easily in areas where the market's likely to encounter pressure. And then secondly, with FillFinder validating the zone in real time, you're trading completely in sync with the market. And if you've traded for any length of time, you probably realize that the more in sync with the market your trades are, the easier it is to be successful, and the size of your winners is usually much larger. You know, if you're trading in a zone where it's not really a high pressure area, it can feel like a miracle just to make $50 a contract or 25 or something like that. But if you're trading in an area where the market's likely to encounter an increase in pressure, where things are likely to really ramp up, you know, you can pick up 100 plus per contract much more easier, and so much more easily. And so that's the idea between using FillFinder Automation along with TradeWell, is you're being pointed in the direction of a location that the market has already implied and built into itself, that hey, here's a spot where if it gets back to this zone, it's a very good chance that you're going to see something happen here. And so that's what TradeWell is doing, and like I said, it's fully automated. And so you simply turn it on, and the market creates these zones out of its own behavior. And so TradeWell is simply tracking what the market does in real time. And then as these zones are created, as the market produces them, it simply records it and then broadcasts the numbers to you. So you're getting filtered trade zone data. And so that's what we call TradeWell, as a well of opportunities. And so this is starting to push back, starting to get closer to the zone. Okay, so just now touching the bottom of the zone, and so we'll now see
order filled.
Okay, so the market just came up and stopped out the trade. And so it's showing us, and as you can see, now that the market has pushed and entered into the zone, it becomes a red background with white numbers. And so that just lets you know, prior to that, when it's just simply red numbers, that lets you know that the zone is there and it's time to input that into FillFinder if you want to trade it. And then once the background changes color and becomes red in a resistance zone, that lets you know that the market is currently in that zone right now. And so if you're watching your TradeWell on its own screen, and you have multiple markets, you can put in much more than just the handful of markets I have here. then you can see at a glance where your markets are located and where your opportunities, your next opportunities may be. And so as you can see, the first trade came and went. There was a slight shift, and then the market immediately popped again to the upside, and so created a small loss. And so now we're just continuing to watch. The market's still in the zone, and so we'll continue to see how this plays out here in just a moment.
Order pending.
Okay, so filled short, and as you can see, FillFinder is just functioning as it does on all the other videos. You can see the stop is automatically placed around the order flow construct that triggered the trade. Everything's shown on screen, so your stop location, your smaller target, your larger target are all shown on screen. Your fill price is shown here, as well as over near the data P&L on FillFinder column. And then now you can see in TradeWell, we've also got our position average price and the live P&L here. And that factors in the prior loss, and so it's a cumulative P&L. All right, so starting to get a little cooperation here. Short from 71.81. The market's now in the 71.70s. The smaller target's looking for 71.75 3/4. So currently just another 1.25 away from it approximately. And then the larger target's a bit lower, 71.70 1/4. So looking for a little over 10 points in the E-mini NASDAQ for the larger target. So now within a few ticks here, looking for...
Order filled.
Okay, so the smaller target has just filled. And so that's showing us the split fill, everything, the P&L, the prior loss, everything. That's cumulative, keeping track of that. And then our stop moved to our entry, 71.81. It looks like it's at 71.81 1/4. And so just because of the split fill, probably off by just a touch. So just can grab that and move that wherever you like. And now seeing some further cooperation here, but the stop's at the entry. So if the market snaps back up, at this point, the smaller target with the 4 contracts, that will be, that's in the books. And the larger target, 71.70 1/4, is only a couple, about 3 or 4 points away at the moment. Stop at the entry though, so we're risking this current situation here, just the unrealized profit on these two with a stop at the entry, but the gain from the smaller target is no longer at risk. And so that's how things sit at the moment. And as you can see, period just closed, and now we can see the red highlight went away, just letting us know that it's no longer in the zone. And so that's pretty handy if you have multiple markets. You're able to, like I was saying earlier, at a glance locate which markets are in or out of their respective zone, and it just gives you a chance to choose which markets you want to work. If something's already in the zone, then you may have missed the opportunity. But if it's currently, I mean, if ahead of going into the zone, if you look and you see, okay, it's not highlighted yet, it's just the color red or blue, then that lets you know that you can get those in prior to the market getting to the zone. And that way, any activity in the zone, FillFinder has a chance to look at all of it. And so getting some more cooperation now, just another couple points here. So again, the process starts with TradeWell, loading the markets that interest you. Here, as you can see, I've just got the US indices represented by these 4 symbols here, EMD, ES, and QRTY. And we can see of those 4, we've got a couple that produced a zone and just chose to just work this NASDAQ zone. And so put that in. The market has generated 2 trades, FillFinder, by using the zone and then entering that into FillFinder. We found 2 trades. First one was a fast and small losing trade, just a few ticks. And then we can see the second, the initial risk on the trade was from 81 up to roughly 84 even. So we're looking at $3.60 per contract risk on the second entry. And so just a smaller risk for this second one. And as we can see, we've already realized a 5 1/4 point smaller target winner. And now just looking for the market to flush out a little bit more and get down near the 71.70 area. And if so, we'll grab our second target at 71.70 1/4. And that will be a gain of 10 3/4 points on the larger target. And like I said, you can adjust these as you want. They're utterly flexible. If you just want a smaller target, you can select 0 for your quantity in target 2 field, and it will only work that one target. So you really have all kinds of flexibility as far as what we want FillFinder to do. So just about 5 points away, and looking for a little bit more downside cooperation here in the NASDAQ. Okay, paused it for just a little bit there. Market's still just hovering just a little bit beyond, a little bit beneath the smaller profit objective, and starting to see some cooperation here. 71.73 even, looking for 71.70 1/4. And so coming our way here, as you can see, TradeWell's broadcasting the current bid and ask, the last price, the position average, the P&L.
Order filled.
And so just filled at 71.70 1/4. And then also the TradeWell zones. And so just to reiterate, if the TradeWell numbers are red, those are resistance zone prices. If the TradeWell zone numbers are blue, those are support zone prices. And so what you get with TradeWell is an automated zone broadcast system where you're able to enter in markets of interest, and then it will track the construct and the zones where the market's likely to experience an influx of pressure. And so as we've seen here, looking at our NASDAQ market today, we've got the market came into the zone, and then immediately, or very soon I should say, 71.78, it only pushed as high as 84. And so roughly 5 1/4, 5.5 points. It encountered sell side pressure at the zone, the TradeWell zone, and using that in conjunction with the FillFinder plus automation, you simply enter that zone, the TradeWell zone, into FillFinder, and then it will detect in real time when the market validates the anticipated pressure. So in this instance, we're anticipating sell side pressure. However, as you know, sometimes what we anticipate, the market doesn't exactly do everything we anticipate. And so we need some way of recognizing a real-time opportunity, and that's what FillFinder does. It in real time recognizes shifts in order flow pressure that will favor an outcome in the direction of your trade. So if you're using a resistance zone, it will recognize shifts that will favor a downward push, and that's exactly what we saw here. The market came into the TradeWell zone, resistance zone, only 5 or 6 points in, it encountered sell side pressure. In real time, FillFinder detected the validation based on order flow dynamics. The order flow validated the trade, FillFinder recognized it, FillFinder entered in not only the trade entry but also the trade stop and the trade profit objectives. And so you have a fully automated trade management built into FillFinder, and as you can see, once your first target was reached, the stop moved automatically. In this case, it was just a tick off of the averaged entry, and sometimes that happens when you have a split fill, and that's fine. You can move your orders on screen, and so wherever you want the stop to be, just simply click and drag. And so we can see the stop was automatically moved to the entry, and then we can see our profit objectives were reached eventually. And so that's a brief introduction to our new product, TradeWell, and also how to use it in conjunction with FillFinder plus automation. And so if you have questions, you're welcome to contact me. Just simply put your information in comments or ask whatever you want to ask, and I'll get right back to you. And everyone, trade safely, trade well, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much.